Okay, hello everyone. It's glad to be here. My name is Eric Su. Today is really honor to be a host to open this OTEA event, and glad to have Simon as our speaker for today. And oh, sorry, I forgot to ask. I forgot to say hello everyone. Good morning in the friend in Taiwan, and good morning for the friend in United States, and maybe good afternoon for other friend in another countries. Hope everyone doing very well. And um, okay, then let's go back. That really glad to be here to host today's event for the OTEA Overseas Taiwanese Engineer Association. And today we will have Simon Chen as the project engineer, who is really outstanding. He graduated from NTU, National Taiwan University, in 2012, and then going to the University of Illinois and Urban Champ that study the master degree for the civil engineering, specialized in construction management. And this is the one of the world's best engineering school in the United States. And after graduation, he's really outstanding too. He joined a civil engineering company and in the test engineer. Then it is a contractor for the Formosa Plastic Corporation. Then worked there for about 3 years, and right now he's in Austin, work as a project engineer and in the Dunway Associates. That is really good at land development, utility design, site design, and environmental analysis. So really glad he can be here to introduce himself and share his experience and his topic, what he is working on for us. And okay, let's give it to Simon. Thank you.
Okay, so Happy New Year to everyone. My name is Simon. In Chinese would be Zhen Zixuan. And first, appreciate OTA for this opportunity. And thanks to Eric Su for being today's moderator. And also, I want to say thank you to Wu Bingxuan for making this amazing poster. I really like it. And today's topic is land development and civil engineering in Austin, Texas, USA. So here's the poster again, showing my education and experience. And the reason to talk about land development is because I've been working in this industry for several years. And I'd like to share with you some of my experience working in the United States. And my LinkedIn profile is below. Welcome to connect with me. You can just search for my name. First, I will just describe what is land development, and to go into the land development industry in Austin. And in the end, I'll have some conclusions and discussions with all of you. So I'll consider these slides as a kind of my personal notes. So for some parts, it will go into some boring details. So if you have any questions during the presentation, just write it down, and I'll try to answer it in the Q&A session. So what is land development? So you can imagine yourself as a developer. And first, you need to have an idea to build things. And it can be an apartment, a hospital, a shopping mall, an office building, a school, or it doesn't need to be a building. It can be a park, a parking lot, or just a segment of road. And the second one would be you need to consult with your local municipality. That means it could be a city's development center, and those city staff, they are familiar with code and regulations, and they will give you some good advice. And after that, you are going to find money, find investors, find bank loans, so you can acquire a piece of land to do the development. Okay, so now you want to build your property. You have to group your AEC team. AEC team is architecture, engineering, and construction. And you'll ask them to refine your plans, obtain permits, and then start the construction. And this presentation will focus on the civil engineering part and how those plans look like and what permits we're talking about. And the third one, okay, after you build your property, you have to manage it, and you'll have to find tenants or buyers so you can make money. You can lease it or sell it. And this is generally how developers make money. Then they move on to the next property. Okay, so now we are in Austin. This is some general information to show where Austin is in the United States, how many people there, and as you may know, it's a capital city of Texas, and it's the point here is just telling you that Austin is a fast-growing city, so the land development industry can prosper as well. And also, Texas has lots of lands, so the developer can always find a place to build whatever they like. Okay, let's get into some details. So the definition of land development in Austin is the construction or reconstruction of a building or road, the placement of a structure on land, the excavation, mining, dredging, grading, or filling of land. And there's a go-to place for developers. That's the City of Austin Development Service Department. That's the local municipality of the City of Austin. So this is a development process flowchart from start to finish your property. So this flowchart is the backbone of this presentation. So it will show up again and again. And at each stage, what you will get after you accomplish each stage. So the first one, you go to your city's development center and have some assessment. They'll give you the assessment report. Maybe you'll just tell them your plan, your master plan, and maybe the results of your feasibility studies. The city staff will give you suggestions for your next steps. And the second stage is zoning review. You will get the zoning ordinance after you pass that stage. And zoning ordinance is a document to show all the special rules in that zoning district. And after that, subdivision review, site plan review, building plan review, we'll talk about them later on. And the point here is to show you that our goal is to get the permits. As a developer or as a civil engineer, we want to get the permits for the owner so that we can start the construction. Because in the city of Austin, it's illegal to start the construction without the required permits, even if it's on your private land. So the last stage, inspection, it's straightforward. You always have to pass the inspection in order to occupy or use the things you build. Okay, so the first part, what is zoning? So by definition, it establishes the types of land uses permitted on that parcel of land. It also sets development standards like the building height, setbacks, floor to area ratio, landscaping, impervious cover, and I have a image to show you. Okay, the images below show how to get the floor area ratio and building coverage ratio, and what happened to a building's shape if you have different limits. For example, your limits of FAR means the floor area ratio is 1.0, and all three are 1.0. But if your BCR, building coverage ratio, the limits are different, you will get different shape of building if you want to reach the limits. Okay, so this is some zoning map example. Okay, this is just a corner of city of Austin. you'll see different letters in different area, and here is just the actual name of that letter. So you'll see SF means single family, CS means general commercial services. So in general, what does zoning do to the city? If you ask a group of people to build something in the same zoning district, you can imagine that they probably will build buildings all in similar shape and similar height, because there's a limits over there, and all of them want to reach the limits. So everything will look similar. And this zoning is a kind of convenient tool for urban planning and design. So who will get involved if the developer wants to do a zoning or rezoning? Usually the land use commission, they will review your case and tell you it is okay to revise the current zoning, or is it okay to add another zoning to existing one. And the developers team usually include urban planner, architect. Sometimes the developer is the city of Austin itself. And what's civil engineer's job here? Actually, not much can do, because this is a high level thing. Maybe you can do the traffic impact analysis, but not much can do. And when I say civil engineer here, I mean a civil engineer in a consulting firm like myself. What is a subdivision? It has three subparts. First is a preliminary plan. Second part is plat. Third one is subdivision construction plan. And by definition, subdivision is the act of dividing land into pieces that are easier to develop. Preliminary plan, a map or drawing of a plat. I'll show examples later. And here's some regulations at telling you if you want to build a subdivision, you have to follow the rules of building a road, sidewalks, utility lines, storm sewer, drainage ways. So in general, a subdivision development contains infrastructures only. Most of works are in the public right-of-way. I'll show you some examples later. Okay, so looking at this image, it's a existing conditions in 2016, just some dirt roads and everything in green, open space. And the first stage, the developer will provide the preliminary plan. It just looked like this, pretty simple. And it total has 2 sheets. I'm showing one of it. So it's telling the city that, okay, you want to build some roads there, and how you want to divide the lots inside this area. And the second one will be the plat. So the plat is pretty similar to preliminary plan, but this one will be recorded in the county. So the city staff will have some records showing the plat, showing what the future may look like based on this plan. And in total, I have 3 sheets. The number of sheets just want to show you the amount of information it has. So in the formal plan for this area, the subdivision construction plan, it has total of 94 sheets. So these 94 sheets will tell you how to build all the public infrastructure in this area, such like roads, utility, stormwater detention ponds. And here's it is under construction in 2018. Okay, so next one will be to talk about who will get involved if the developer wants to do a subdivision. So there will be reviewers, City of Austin Planning and Development Review, and it has people from all different background, and their job is to sit there waiting for your plans and put their comments on plans and make sure you follow the rules. And the developers team, it will have surveyor, urban planner, engineers, and civil engineer will do a lot of things in this stage. Okay, and I put that in next slide. So I use this as an example. So first of all, if your site is near a creek, you'll have to do a flood plan analysis. Make sure everything is outside the flood plan. And you have to do erosion and sedimentation control design to make sure all your construction activities will not impact the environment. Water and wastewater utility design, and of course, a geotechnical analysis for all the roads. And here we have ponds, the water quality pond and detention pond design. And sometimes we'll need structural design for the pond walls. And also for the roads, you'll need grading and drainage. And sometimes you'll need sidewalks. So basically, our job is to design most of the public infrastructure for this area. Okay, so now move on to site plan. This is the definition. It's just a plan for a development other than a subdivision construction plan to cover everything. Most of the site plan works are inside the property lines. The work scope includes all infrastructure, but it will stop at the buildings. It will only show the general location, function, and shape of buildings. The building's details will be covered by building plan. So here is only for the infrastructure, the site plan. On the same site, the site plan is talking about things inside this loop of roads. It has 46 sheets. So it shows you how to build infrastructure inside these property lines. And this one is the same picture. It's under construction in 2018. And in 2021, it got built for phase 1. And the reason phase 2 is empty because their owner doesn't have enough money. So he decided to sell it. So now it's still empty. And someone else will buy this land and take over the design site plan and maybe modify a little, and then they'll build something else. But based on the zoning, they still have to build an apartment. They cannot change it too much. So who will get involved if the developer wants to do a site plan? Okay, this is the same group of reviewers from City of Austin. But now they will focus on the gray areas between public and private properties. And in developer team, now you will see architect, landscape architect. Their job is to make sure everything is functional, beautiful, and user-friendly. So unlike civil engineers like myself, we only focus on functionalities. Okay, civil engineer's job is similar to subdivision. It's just inside the property lines. You have to do erosion and sedimentation control, grading and drainage design for the driveways and the landscape areas. Of course, geotechnical analysis for buildings, and traffic control plan to show the contractor how to handle the existing traffic over there when you start your construction activities. Parking lot design, water, wastewater utility design for all the apartment buildings. Building plan to get the building permits. The building permits are required to erect, construct, enlarge, alter, repair, move, improve, convert, or demolish a building or structure within the city. So here's just an example because it's a single-family residential building plan. It has 48 sheets. And who will get involved? The reviewers are from the city. They are a different group. And they won't focus too much on the private things. They will double check if there is any gray areas between public and private. And in developers team, you'll see mostly it is architect and landscape architects showtime. For civil engineering, usually only structural engineer can play with them. a civil engineer like myself would not touch the building. In the building plan, you'll see roof plan, framing plan, section views, things like that. And civil engineer can do some geotechnical analysis, structural design, and sometimes civil engineer can do a little drainage design for the backyard. But most of the time, a landscape architect can handle it, just a small scope of work. So like myself, as a civil engineer in a consulting firm, like you just saw, we'll focus on subdivision and site plan, just these two stages. And our job is to produce a plan, get the permits. That's all we want to do. And 50% of time producing the plan, doing the design analysis, and 50% of the time you are responding city reviewers' comments, try to fight with them or dance with them, depends on the condition. Something about land development industry, you are dealing with public space most of the time. And especially you are dealing with many gray areas between public and private. And other than that, every sites are different. You will have different zonings, different regulations, different reviewers, all will lead you to different results. And you are always learning different things. So when you look at a city, it's like reading the hopes, aspirations, and pride of everyone who built it. I think that is part of the land development spirit, and you may be proud of it. At the end of this presentation, which part are you interested in? And how about your civil engineer's job? What's your experience look like? And I just want to encourage you to share your thoughts, and we can have some discussions. Yeah, this is the last slide. Do you have any questions?
Okay, first, I believe we should really give Simon a pause and thank you. So thank you very much for the sharing for this event, and let us know a little bit more about the land development in the United States and especially in the Austin area. I see there's one question in the chat from Oliver. And his question is like regarding the permits as the developer company in Austin, except the develop permit in order to build the construction project. Do you also have the similar permit process in Taiwan, like building permit, construction permit, fire permit, or occupation permit?
I don't have much experience working in Taiwan, but they will be building permit and like 建筑执照 and occupation permit 使用执照之类的。
If you want to demolish the old structure and then build a new structure, you also need a demolition license.
Yes. Usually the contractor will handle that. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay, for sharing your experience. And here's another question from Albert. Is there any shrink swell damage to buildings in Austin, especially for buildings that are founded on shallow foundations and may be susceptible to soil movement? By the way, I'm geotechnical engineer in New Zealand. Oh, sorry.
Yes, I think so. It depends on the geotechnical area in Austin. In general, East Austin, the soil condition is weaker. So usually you will see some crackings to buildings foundations in buildings over there for East Austin. So people realize that after 10 or 15 years after you build that building. So I think now they will focus more on the foundation design and build something stronger for buildings in that area.
I personally also have a question. So you mentioned about no matter that's the private or public area, you need to get the permit to do the construction. And what's the punishment if someone did not get the permit, then start the construction?
If the authority having jurisdiction, they found out, they may ask you to remove it. because that's illegal, or they will ask you to get the permit or get something uh, to prove that's safe enough as soon as possible, and ask you to pay some fines. Depends on how serious that is. And most
Okay.
of the time, if that's just a small repair project or some like a concrete pad in your backyard, um, that doesn't need to have a building permit, but you have to request the exemption for a building permit so that they know you are building something, but they are not going to review it. That's that.
Okay, here's another question. As you can access some developing information in advance, how do you deal with this confidential data or take advantage from it?
If you're talking about my example maps, they are all they are all public data. Yeah, because that is in public area, and city staff, they are reviewing it, and after everything is approved, they will upload it to city's website, and you can go ahead and download it.
Thank you. Thank you. And I have another question that's, let's say if I am interested in working like you as to for land development, what would you suggest for the software that to be familiar before start the work?
um yeah, when I first step into this industry, um I only know how to use AutoCAD, yeah, and some basic civil design analysis skills from schools. And I think they first asked me to learn more about the AutoCAD because you still have to use it, and and then because we did a lot of hydrology and hydraulics analysis, so they'll ask you to learn hack HMS and hack REST, and that will help. So um, for myself, it's more into water resource industry. Yeah.
Hey, Simon, thanks for your presentation. I would like to know, in the developer world, at least in Austin, is there a lot of civil engineer like you, like working in this in this sandbox? And what do you think is as a civil engineer, what's our advantage in this developer world?
There are lots of civil engineer working in land development industry, and I feel like it's very local industry because if you have many years of experience here, you will know some reviewers in the city. That's about their personal connections, and um, you know, if you have different reviewers, you'll get different results. And if you know the reviewer very well, you know what they like. So it may be easier to get your things approved if you know who's the reviewer. And so that's why it's making things more local. Yeah, if you just moving to a different state, and you know nothing there, you don't have connections, usually um, it won't help to get your permit done. So what's our advantage? Um, I would say maybe we can be more detail oriented. Yeah. Sometimes local American people, they just focus on big pictures and how to do this and that, but actually um, they don't know the details. Yeah. So if you are um, detail oriented person, maybe that will help you.
We have more questions. So from Sean, his question is, how does the developer negotiate with the local government for building roads around the site? Does it common that the developer pay the local government to build roads?
If you are building roads in the public right of way, city will pay partially, and they will have some kind of discussions, and they have rules behind it. Yeah, maybe 50%, 50, yeah, things like that.
Okay, so the first part is like how does the developer negotiate with the local government for building roads? Do you need to do any kind of negotiation or cooperation with the government?
sometimes city will ask for wider roads, but and they will ask you to dedicate it because you have the land. They want you to dedicate like 70 feet of road, but you don't want to lose that amount of land, so you will negotiate maybe 60 feet, things like that.
Oliver has another question. In USA, do you also have the 预售屋? If that is the case, in the project's building lifespan, which stage will you start to sell the 预售屋? Like 6 months before getting occupation permit?
At least in Austin, sometime they will have a site that everything is empty, but it has roads, it has infrastructures, it has streets, but no houses there. And that's a stage they are selling houses. And I think they must have got the subdivision permit so that they can build a road, and they must got the site plan permits. And maybe they don't have the building plan because there's no building. So maybe when you pay that pre-sale house, they will start to prepare that building plan and then submit it for you, and that's part of the fee. Yeah, and building plan, if that's just a single family house, you can get it approved in a week. That's pretty quick if everything is just typical and simple.
Thank you. And here's the following questions by Sean's question. Does local government responsible for maintaining the road?
Yes, the roads are in public right of way, so that's City of Austin's property. They will have to maintain it. Yes, but sometimes you will see some roads in bad conditions. Maybe they didn't collect enough tax to do that. Maybe.
Yeah, I can have a little support for this one since I was working in the county government. Yes, that's I agree Simon's response that if the road is within the public right of way, then the publics are responsible for do the maintenance or renovation for the roads, and it depends on what's the level, like the county government or the state government or the federal government. Well, maybe they are not do the work, but they are having some fund for the local government to do the job to maintenance the work to maintenance the road. Chien Lee has a question. Any work culture difference while dealing with others? So based on my understanding, it's like, is there any like different kind of people need to deal with based on the culture or the races?
I don't feel that, at least in Austin. I think Austin are very inclusive. They accept all different kinds of people. Yeah, if you can get the job done, they'll respect you. Yeah, and I don't have much working experience in Taiwan, so maybe I don't know the difference.
I remember there's a slogan that Austin people was very proud of, or
Yeah, keep Austin weird.
yes.
What is that?
So do you really feel, or how do you to keep Austin weird?
Just to be yourself, I think. Yeah.
That's really funny.
It's Vincent here. Great presentation. Thank you. Very educational.
Thank you.
I heard about Austin is the top 10 cities got the flooding of California people moving over there. Do you feel that way?
Yes, a little. Yeah. I saw many people, engineers, interviewed in our company. They are either from California or Seattle. I think yes, many people from the West, yeah, coming to here.
So it's getting crowded. Like you're able to live in environment. You see more people on the street, on the highway, more traffic.
It's pretty. The traffic is pretty heavy before the pandemic. Yeah, but after the pandemic, I think it's okay. It's acceptable to me. Yeah, and many companies here in Austin we have the remote working schedule. And I think maybe that's the same in other states. So for myself, I only have to go to my office twice a week. So even if the traffic is bad or heavy, you can you still have 3 other days free of traffic. Yeah.
New York is all back to normal. I'm telling you, Monday to Friday, even Saturday and Sunday, every day it's not moving.
Oh,
It is fully back. It's like you need to go back to work Monday through Friday.
No, I still do hybrid, but everybody in my office is in person 5 days a week, sometimes even on a weekend. So we're back to normal completely. And
Oh,
the
man.
tourist is 90% back. So next year it's gonna go over 100% over the 2019.
Oh man, right now it's kind of hard to imagine going back to full time in the office.
Are you guys still doing hybrid?
Yeah. And I'm doing like kind of like Simon. I only need to go to the office like 2 to 3 days a week.
I actually like hybrid. It's like,
Yeah.
you kind of don't have to go every day. I do 2 days
Yeah.
a week too. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. Beth has a question again.
Yeah, Simon. Well, I have a question, kind of echoing Vincent's question, because there's recent years it's a second fastest growing city in U.S., Austin, and a lot of people flooding in, and they want to look for like a houses. So a lot of demand on the market right now. So I want to ask you, as a developer, like if you're buying a house in Austin, what quality are you looking for? As a home buyer, I'm very curious.
what quality? You mean how big the house? What's the arrangement of the house?
Yeah, everything. I'm curious.
I feel like people buying houses here, they are focusing on like a 3 or 4 bedrooms and just a single family house. They are not looking for condos. They're just looking for single family house. And how big that is, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 square feet. Yeah. And the price is about, I'll say 600K or below that.
Okay,
And you can get a 3-bedroom houses.
Yeah.
Like lower than 600K.
Yeah.
okay.
Wow. And
That's
people
not
are
bad.
not bad. And people are not, the most important is people are not crazy about condos and apartments, right? They're looking for single houses with your
Yes.
own front yard, own backyard.
Right. I think that's Texas style. Yeah.
Okay, I see Robert has a question. What suburbs would you recommend for people to move to?
Maybe that's close to the main development area. Yeah, and you can imagine in the short future, maybe 5 or 10 years, that area will be better. Yeah, that suburb area will be kind of urban. Yeah. So if you check the area of the city of Austin, it's getting bigger and bigger every year.
Okay, here's a question from Eric Chen. Are there oil and gas or energy industry opportunities in Austin?
I think yes, but they will be more in Houston. But I have a friend, she's working in gas and energy industry, and I think their company is kind of remote controlling the oil stuff in New Mexico. So that they work in Austin remotely to dig the oil.
Yeah, I have the same comments as Simon, that based on my understanding, there's more opportunities about the oil and gas or energy that in Houston. And there are like, sometimes they need to do the coding or the programming for like drilling to get the oil or to get the gas, and you need to immediately get the data that you are touch the gas or the oil, then you can start to move the next step you need to do to get the oil and gas that not spread out the ocean and collect them as soon as possible. Okay, Oliver has another question. I read an article that American may need to spend a lot of money to maintain the townhouse because the house may be wooden structure. How do you think about this? Any suggestion to recommend us? How should we consider to find a house?
If you are finding single family house, 95% are wood structures. Yeah, because that's based on the supply chain and history of the America. They just like to build things in wood. They have lots of wood resources, and if you know those wood framings, they are all using thin wood structures, 2x4, 2x6. That's the size of the lumber. Um, that's just so easy to get. You can buy it in Home Depot. Everyone used to these materials, so it's really hard to change the way they build things. Um, but you will see some. If it's a maybe 5-story condo buildings, maybe the first two stories are made from concrete, but the third, fourth, and fifth, they're all in wood.
Townhouse is different than single house. I don't know what Oliver mentioned is specific in townhouse or single family house, because townhouse will be connected to the other owner's house, and then so usually there is a HOA fee associated with that, and then also the insurance fee are different. But actually, wooden structure in US can stand very long. I think it's even longer than reinforced concrete in Taiwan, because in California, as I know, there's a lot of wooden structure is like more than 60 year and even up to 100 year, and the condition is still very good. And one thing, good thing is that then you can fix your house yourself.
Yeah,
You don't need to hire the contractor to do that, especially as we are all civil engineers. So that's how we maintain the single family house.
yeah, you'll see lots of American people go to Home Depot to buy things and repair by themselves.
Um, really appreciate Simon's again, and also appreciate everyone to join this event, to stay together, to understand, to grow a little bit more, to understand the land development in United States a little bit more. And we stay together, we learn together, we can grow together. So really appreciate everyone's time to join this event, and wish everyone to stay healthy, to stay with the family, to learning and growing forever. Really appreciate everyone.